I didn't really get involved in the community. I think I got on Bitcoin Talk in 2012. I mean, where I actually started posting, and then I got heavily involved in our Bitcoin and became a mod of our Bitcoin in end of 2012 or 2013.
Hey there, I mentioned this in the intro just to give you a little bit more context. Our Bitcoin on Reddit, the Reddit channel, that was the place to talk about Bitcoin. And the block size debate, do we want to have larger blocks for the blockchain added to the blockchain each time, or do we build a layer off chain? The BTC camp, the Bitcoin Core, Bitcoin camp, they decided to limit the block size, and it's still 1 megabyte. That's why the fees were around $50. And the North American Bitcoin Conference, because of the high fees and slow processing time, was unable to sell tickets in BTC, or the Bitcoin Cash style, which is scale on chain, fast transactions. I won't go deep into the debate, but just understand that it's a technical debate. And instead of allowing for this debate to happen, any post added to our Bitcoin was removed, which is strange with a censorship resistant currency. That's the whole point, to have a freedom of speech. So anyway, it's a debate that's still going on today and has caused a lot of bad blood in the industry. So it's in the Bitcoin history book, the block size debates will be a significant chapter or pair of chapters. Just wanted to add context for the people listening that are new to Bitcoin. And let's go back into the our Bitcoin story. And Jason, as you know, Roger's probably the most vocal about it, but Bitcoin is uncensorable money. And, David shares he runs RBTC, which is now more Bitcoin Cash. Tell us the story, because the way I understand it, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, that r/Bitcoin became a censored Reddit, Reddit forum when the whole idea of Bitcoin is uncensorable. What happened there?
Yeah, I mean, it's actually really one of the bigger tragedies in the space. Our Bitcoin, the Bitcoin subreddit on Reddit.com, really was one of the greatest places that's ever existed in the history of the internet as far as the community goes. I remember in 2013 getting up every day and just going and seeing what people were talking about, what was new in the space, and everybody was so supportive of each other. And even if people had differing views, they were, still wished each other well and hoped everybody was doing great. And it was this amazing, amazing community. I was very privileged to be a member of it, and then even more privileged to be made a mod there. And then just slowly over time, just the sentiment started changing. Just what was being posted started being a lot more negative. They started being a lot more FUD, a lot more just sort of BS articles. And I had this view of it from inside of getting to watch us trying to mod bad content and being overridden, being overridden by the owner of our Bitcoin. And, basically when the block size debate started, anything to do with a larger block in any context, talking about larger block size for our Bitcoin, just started getting killed. And then, I mean, it became this really crazy thing where if you just talked about wanting bigger blocks in Bitcoin, then Thamos would just say, well, if you want bigger blocks, that's an altcoin. That's not Bitcoin. So you can't talk about that here. And so, I mean, not a small amount. I mean, thousands of posts got blocked. It was a very weird time because, this had been something that had been such a big part of my life at that time. And it just became something different, not overnight, but just gradually, things happen. It just kind of got eroded over time. And yeah, and it just became a place where nobody wanted to be anymore. And most of the people who had made it great and the people who had gone on to do important things in Bitcoin just left because it wasn't fun and it wasn't useful. And eventually it became toxic and it became a really negative part of the community. I think that's basically what it still is today.
That's crazy. Now, for those that don't know anything about this, Thamos, correct me if I'm wrong here, Jason, he's still anonymous, or he or she still anonymous. No one knows who this person is, correct?
I feel like he got doxxed once or twice, but did a good job of cleaning it up. So let's say that he's like Bitcoin. He's pseudonymous.
Okay. Pseudonymous. So you think you know who he is?
Personally, I don't, but I think that you could push and find out if you were up to the task.
Gotcha. And he was the chief moderator. You were a moderator, but not the chief moderator. So he's the chief moderator of our Bitcoin till this day.
Yeah, he's the owner. He's actually the founder of our Bitcoin. He's actually the founder of Bitcoin Talk as well. So, I mean, if you want to talk about sort of the Bitcoin media monopoly, he had it for a very long time. I mean, he got to have a very large influence on the narrative of Bitcoin and blockchain, because even originally altcoins, any other sort of blockchain cryptocurrency, blockchain project, whatever, the place to go talk about it was Bitcoin Talk.
That's correct. You'd have to make an announcement on Bitcoin Talk, right? That was a standard procedure.
Yeah, that was, and even today, a lot of the ICO promotion companies and stuff, if you look at the list that they send out to ICOs, like one of the things is it's like, well, where's your Bitcoin Talk announcement? And I don't know that Bitcoin Talk is super influential anymore, but I mean, in 2013, it was a big stick, and so was our Bitcoin, and they had a lot of power in influencing the community.
And Jason, just to give context to people that are new to Bitcoin, our Bitcoin still has maybe as much traffic as any other Bitcoin website today, probably not counting, Coin Market Cap for the price checking, but it is quite strange. And the block size debate, right? Bigger blocks, which is Bitcoin Cash, and, plenty of other blockchains that aren't named Bitcoin. And Bitcoin's kept it, which has kept, transaction fees high and slower confirmation times for sending transaction. And we're not going to debate whether, bigger blocks versus smaller blocks here. There's plenty of other great info for that where you can make your own decision. But what I do want to say is it's very strange to me that this is not content where someone's talking about, I don't know, mass murder or, it's really heavy stuff or proposing to hurt people. It's just talking about the size, moving from 1 megabyte, the size of the transaction block. It's very interesting that it caused such a visceral and polemic reaction within the community and caused censorship, and people didn't want to debate it.
Yeah, it was a very weird thing to be a part of, because there's such this libertarian underpinnings to Bitcoin and blockchain as a whole. And one of those core principles is just the freedom of speech, freedom of expression, the freedom to just talk about whatever you want to. Even if I don't agree with you, I don't want you to shut up about it. I want you to have a place to be heard, even if I think what you're saying is stupid or ridiculous. And watching our Bitcoin just sort of falter, it was really hard. And for the first time in maybe 3 years, I actually just logged on to our Bitcoin, and it's got 1 million members. I think they probably stopped reporting at 1 million because it says it's 1 million even. But there's only 3,900 online, which might seem like a lot. But I mean, I remember there being 100,000 members online. And like the top post on here has 6 comments and there's 11 comments under it. But like in the heyday, I mean, you're talking about threads on threads on threads, hundreds of messages, hundreds of comments on posts. And it was just a much more interactive community. And it kind of sucks that got taken away from it. I've seen sort of a resurgence. I'm a member of a couple of like WhatsApp and Telegram groups that kind of have that feel to it now. But it was something that was really important to the community that got taken away, and it sucks.
Yeah, in spite of, I don't know, Bitcoin 10xing in popularity and the number of users, like the active community going down, and WhatsApp and Telegram groups. Telegram, for those that don't know, it's like I call it a better WhatsApp, but it's a messaging app and it has groups. But the functionality of having threads, not just having one long conversation of Reddit, allows for a lot more things that you can't do on WhatsApp or Telegram. So it's quite a shame that it's...
For sure. Yeah, it would have been great for it to sort of keep its livelihood, and then for allow the mods to do their job and actually, curate a good community. But it just didn't happen. And then I'm sure the story Roger would love for me to tell on here is that I was removed as a mod in 2014, early 2015. Probably December of 2014 or January 2015. And I was removed as a mod because I removed a post from our Bitcoin that said that Roger Ver was a Nazi. And it was very clearly in violation of all of our terms of service at our Bitcoin. And I just got a very short reply from Thamos that was like, hey, this mod is not characteristic for how you mod, and we believe that your account has been compromised, so we're removing you as a moderator. Thank you for your service. And so I was removed as a mod because I pulled down a post that called Roger Ver a Nazi.
Wow. And question for you, do you think they were kind of waiting? I mean, again, this is maybe speculation here, but do you think Thamos kind of was like, I'm waiting for the last straw to get rid of Jason King? Or was this just an isolated thing?
No, it was a concerted effort already. He'd already kicked out a bunch of old mods. And then there was one day in 2014 where like 6 or 7 new mods just showed up that had like zero history. Nobody knew them. They weren't active in the community or anything. Just all of a sudden, there were 6 or 7 new mods, and then they were given like super user authority, which was higher than what I had, as a mod that had been there for a while. And it just became very clear that we were getting straw manned out. I think that, he was able to get rid of some mods without a lot of public outcry. And then, they were waiting for a time when it would be advantageous to get rid of me too. And then when they saw a thing, they just got rid of me. But at that time, I mean, I was essentially impotent as a mod at that time anyway, because he had a super majority of the mods and was just using them to kill posts left and right.